There was such a bombshell bit of news out of Washington yesterday that honestly, in order to even discuss the debate in proper context, I want to talk about what happened, what the public, the American public, became aware of. So, our very wonderful Director of National Intelligence, former Texas Congressman and now Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, declassified 3 items that relate to the FBI's investigation of the Hurricane Crossfire project of the FBI, and he sent this is DNI Ratcliffe sent these 3 declassified items to the Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. And those items are this, and I want to tell you what they are. This changes pretty much everything about the Russia collusion hoax. But let me just tell you the 3 items that Ratcliffe declassified and sent in a letter that was made public, a letter to the Judiciary Committee Chairman, Senator Lindsey Graham. Ratcliffe wrote, in late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agencies obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging the U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democrat National Committee. The intelligence community does not know the accuracy of this allegation or the extent to which Russian intelligence analysis may reflect exaggeration or fabrication. So, get the first point. Back in July of 2016, campaign is still going on. The intelligence agencies obtained insight. Our American U.S. intelligence agencies got insight that the Russian intelligence analysis, the Russians had picked up that Hillary Clinton had approved a plan to stir up a scandal against candidate Trump, then candidate Trump, by trying to tie him to Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democrat National Committee. Leave aside whether the Russians really did that. But first point is very, very important to comprehend. The Russians, our intelligence agencies figured out the Russians were aware that Hillary approved a plan to stir up a controversy against her then opponent, candidate Trump, by falsely tying him to Putin and the Russians. Number 2, according to handwritten notes, former CIA agency director, the director of the CIA under President Obama, John Brennan, according to handwritten notes, this is what Ratcliffe told the Judiciary Committee yesterday. According to handwritten notes, former CIA director Brennan subsequently briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on that intelligence, including, so now you have them going to, the intelligence agencies going to Obama and saying, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26th of 2016 of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services. We're going to be talking about this a lot today because it's, but the second point, you get this. John Brennan's own handwriting, the CIA director's own handwriting, acknowledging in July of 2016, he's become aware that Hillary cooked up a plot. Hillary's campaign team cooked up a plot to falsely accuse her presidential candidate opponent Trump of ties to Russia and somehow colluding with the Russians. Hillary's team cooks it up. Brennan becomes aware of it, and he reports it. He goes to the White House and tells Obama and other senior national security officials, almost assuredly, Vice President Biden. And number 3, on September 7th of 2016, the U.S. intelligence officials forwarded an investigative referral to FBI Director James Comey and Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok regarding, in quotes, U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections as a means of distracting the public from her use of a private mail server. People, if the parties were reversed, if all of what we just learned, what you just heard, were related to conduct by Republicans, by Donald Trump, by anyone who's ever been in Donald Trump's presence, this would be the screaming headline on every major media news outlet across this country for weeks on end. But because what this intelligence does is implicate Hillary Clinton and Obama and Biden and Comey and Strzok, it is getting attention, of course, in conservative sites and conservative news media, and you barely hearing the other folks talking about it. And you have to recognize how consequential this story is. All of the time that all of us were watching the news, all of the time, ever since July of 2016, when Hillary Clinton has been spewing lies in her tweets, in her speeches, in her messages about Trump and Trump colluding with the Russians and Trump having an inside deal with Putin and Trump favoring Putin. All of that was hogwash lies, and Hillary Clinton knew it. She cooked up the idea. She came up with the idea. And yet she stared the American people in the face on camera throughout the rest of the presidential cycle, throughout every news conference she has given, in dozens, if not hundreds, of tweets and messages and speeches, all perpetrating the lie that she tried to cook up, that she created. And that's just Hillary Clinton. That's just one person. We'll get in a moment, in the rest of the show today, we'll be talking about the consequence, what this means in terms of whether we should ever trust Comey again as a good example. Not that I did trust him, but Obama, Biden, well aware. The Obama White House and senior national security officials in the Obama White House knew since July of 2016 that Hillary and her team had cooked up this idea. Hey, let's create a scandal. Let's make up something about Trump-Russia collusion as a means of, number one, hurting her political opponent, and number two, distracting America's attention from her genuinely illegal conduct related to her email server. So Comey knew, Strzok knew, Obama knew, Biden knew. Broad numbers of people at the highest levels of our government knew that Hillary's team had cooked this up and she had approved it. And yet all of us got treated for the next 3.5 years from the farce, the lie, it's just the monstrosity of the lie that was cooked up. And she cooks up the lie, but the monstrosity of the effort to play it out. You didn't have, it's unclear, by the way, whether Comey and Strzok ever investigated whether or not Hillary approved such a plan, because all they did the rest of the time that we're aware of was try to prove and claim that that there was somehow not a that Trump was the whole problem. The entire effort of the left was to cook up a claim about Trump and Russia, when they cooked it all up themselves. We'll be talking more about this. This ties very much into what we're talking about. All of this ties up very much into what we're going to talk about today as it relates to the presidential debate. But that, my very fine friends, is today's First Five.